This is Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we are going to be talking about giving yourself permission to fail. Good. I'm sort of excited because we have sun today and not hot, but over 50 today. It's really
that's nice. We have that too. It's warm and sunny and very, very windy. And last night it was pouring rain, so the sun feels particularly welcome.
Oh, good. Well, after we're done being in the studio, we'll have to go outside and enjoy it. Well, you might just look at it out the window.
Right, because it's really windy out there. My hair would get so messed up if I went outside. Because my hair is always perfect.
Hey, didn't you get a compliment on your hat head a week ago?
I did. That's the high quality of my haircut, that even with a hat head, it looks okay. That's why I like my haircut.
It's excellent. Well, today we are talking about permission to fail.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept to me because failure doesn't seem like something I get to decide on.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Obviously, I haven't thought about it much. But, it's I guess I don't consider it a lot. Maybe that's it.
Well, and that might be the beauty of being good with good enough, is that it's not an issue.
Yeah.
There are some things that you will do better at than other things, and that's, you work harder at it or you don't do it or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I'm hung up on avoiding things I might fail at, although I think we've talked about before there's certain things I feel I'm bad at, like drawing, so I would never become an urban sketcher. I would never even consider doing that. But that's less about failure and more about enjoyment, I think.
Right. Well, but you are doing hand lettering.
Yes.
Which takes a certain eye and a certain hand-eye coordination and. Yeah, that's true. But making letters is different from drawing a couch. I guess so.
A couch.
As you learned in Pictionary years ago, that has scarred you forever.
It has. This is literally in the 80s, and I think I was just starting to date my husband, and I remember that feeling very embarrassed, I think, that no one recognized my darn couch. Yeah. But yeah, I guess I think of if I failed to do well at something like hand lettering, that's no big deal. To me, that's not failure, perhaps. It's I think when I think of failure, I guess I think of a bigger scale, starting a business that fails. And if I were afraid that I was going to fail at a business, I've started a couple. I'm glad I wasn't afraid to fail. Or maybe I just didn't think that I might fail. Yeah.
Well, and that actually brings up a good point, is because the failure often really only happens, I'm not sure how to say this, but if you stop trying. Mm-hmm. Failure happens when you give up.
Right, but isn't it true you can fail at something you're trying at? Or is that not true?
Yeah, but if you stop, then you stop at failure. If you keep trying.
It's not failure till you stop. Got it. Right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But I think, that it's really interesting just hearing how you think about it, because I think that is the difference between being caught up in perfectionism, is that failure feels much more imminent, much more worrisome, much more possible. And it definitely factors into the equation of whether or not to try something.
Right. Oh gosh, that made me feel sad when those words. It actually made me feel kind of tense and sad for people who feel that way.
Yeah. So it's but that's sort of the feeling.
Mm-hmm. So, if you're not a happy-go-lucky gal like me, and you have those feelings, I'm thinking, based on the topic that we're discussing today, that you can have control over whether you feel that way. You can give yourself permission to make that risk if you try hard. How does that work?
Well, and I think that happens when you change your perception of what is failure.
Mm-hmm.
And
of what is failure. Oh, yeah.
And so one of the ways to do that is to, and I think we've talked about this a few times, but to think about things as a experiment or a practice. Because if you're practicing, you're expecting to make errors.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're working to improve that. Or if it's a practice like yoga practice, you just show up however you are and do the best you can at that time. And that's a success.
Yeah,
it's
no
only
way to fail at yoga, it doesn't seem to me.
The only way you fail at yoga is by not getting on the mat.
Right.
So as long as you're trying, that's a success.
Right.
But
so viewing everything as practice,
mm-hmm.
that doesn't, then failure doesn't enter into it.
Right. Okay, we're done.
Yep. It's been nice talking to you.
What a lovely, lovely episode. Yeah, but I think that's like the real key is shifting your perception of what's failure. And like I said at the beginning, there's I think it's a Japanese proverb that's fall down 7 times, stand up 8. And that sort of points at the same thing, that, falling down isn't a failure as long as you keep standing up.
Right. I'm sure there are many examples of that figure, yeah. I mean, when I think about things like, the thing that just popped in my head is, I always heard about how Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen got turned down
mm-hmm.
by a bazillion publishers before somebody finally published Chicken Soup for this.
Yeah, it was like a ton, like an ungodly number of publishers turned them down.
Right, and if they considered being turned down by a publisher a failure, they would not be bazillionaires.
Right. Well, it's the same as Edison and the light bulb.
Right, and we would be sitting here in the dark if Edison hadn't given himself permission to fail. There you go.
Hadn't given himself permission to fail like however many thousands of times he did before he came up with the one that really worked.
Right. I just was listening to Tim Ferriss's podcast, thanks to you, and heard him say that his big book, the 4-hour work week, was declined many, many, many times by publishers. So,
wow.
Yeah. But when I think, there's one thing that worked to me, I'm thinking about this out loud, it's like one thing to be concerned that you're going to do poorly in a hobby. But it's another thing to invest a whole lot of money in starting a business. And do those people who are willing to take that risk, do you think they have given themselves permissions to fail? Or do you think, are they just living in fear all the time? Or what do you suppose?
Well, I think the thing, and this is what I've seen time and again in my coaching practice, is that you have to have the mindset, or let me put it this way, if you can embrace the mindset that it's okay to fail, you're more likely to succeed. Mm-hmm. If you're in the mindset that I can't fail, it makes it much harder to succeed.
Because the stakes are so high.
Right. And it narrows you down. It sort of puts you in tunnel vision, so you can't see all the possibilities that would allow you to move forward the way you want to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So you have worked with clients who have this concern or this challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you help them?
It depends on, the specifics depend on each situation, but it's the same sort of idea, is allowing yourself to take the risks that get you where you want to go. And knowing that, in NLP, there are a bunch of sort of beliefs that support the ideas of NLP, of neuro-linguistic programming. And one of them is there's no failure, only feedback. And so, like I said, changing that mindset to, like, when you try something, you get information, and maybe it didn't work the way you wanted it to, but now you have information to try something new.
Right.
And if you're in that space of where it's okay to fail, then you can try things, have them not work quite the way you want them to, adjust, and then move forward from there.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And do you have advice or techniques for helping people make that shift so that they can give themselves permission to fail?
Well, I think it really keeps coming back to shifting your definition of what's failure. Mm-hmm. And shifting your definition of what's success. If success is trying and failure is not trying, you behave very differently than if success is getting it right and failure is getting it wrong.
Right. Wow. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to write that down. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I know. That was really good. That was really well said. I thought you had written it down. That just came out of your head, huh?
That just came out of my mouth.
Oh, dear. Now, by the time we finish recording, you'll have forgotten it. Oh, but it's recorded. So you can write it down later.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I really was concerned that you needed to stop recording so you could write it down now, because you wouldn't remember it.
But thankfully, we have technology.
Yes, yeah. But no, that's profound. That's powerful, because that's a big shift. But it doesn't feel, well, I don't know, but it doesn't feel like climbing a mountain to make that shift.
Right. Although I'll tell you, that is. That's the mentality I used to climb mountains.
What do you mean?
So I don't know if you remember, I climbed a lot with other people. And then on January 1st, a number of years ago, I wanted to climb by myself. And you may recall I sent you the information because I was going to be out of cell zone, and I said, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing, this is who to call if you don't hear from me by X time.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I did not enjoy that message. I was happy to help you, but I thought, geez Louise, I don't put myself in situations like that, I guess.
I was just being very cautious. Mm-hmm. I didn't think there was any problems.
I was being very cautious. I was staying at my desk chair. You were being less cautious. You were climbing a mountain by yourself, a big mountain by yourself.
But the point of bringing it up is that that's okay. The entire time I gave myself permission to stop.
Oh, okay.
And so it's success was trying and paying attention to what felt right to me and doing that. So at any moment, I gave myself permission, like, okay, I'm just going to, I wasn't even sure that I was going to do it. And the night before, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get my stuff ready for the morning. And then if I wake up and I feel like going, I'll go. So I woke up, I felt like going, I went, okay, I'm just going to drive to the mountain. And then I'll decide. So I drove to the mountain, and it's like, okay, I still feel like going. I'm just going to, and I just sort of set these milestones the whole way, saying, I'm going to go this far, and I'm going to see how I'm feeling. And if I am done, I'll turn around and go back to the car. If I want to keep going, I'll keep going. Mm-hmm. So by giving myself permission virtually every step of the way to turn around, and it was still a success. Mm-hmm. Because really the main thing was I just wanted to get to the mountain. So anything after that was gravy.
Wow, that's very interesting. I could see how useful that would be.
Yeah. It's another metaphor that people use a lot is driving at night. You can't see where you're going, and you may know, you can look at a map and say, oh, I'm here and I want to go to, I'm in Portland and I want to drive to St. Louis. But, or, maybe for us it would be, I'm in Ogden, Utah, and I want to drive to St. Louis with a strange dog in the back seat.
Very strange dog.
But very sweet.
Yeah.
Except for when she smelled my breath in the middle of the morning.
And
she was not very nice about it. Anyway, but so you generally speaking where you want to go, and generally speaking how you're going to get there, but when it's dark out, you can only see as far as your headlights are. Mm-hmm. So you're like constantly reassessing, like, am I still on the right route? Am I headed in the right direction? Because you can only see 100 or 200 feet ahead of you.
Right. So
and you can still, so you can't say, I'm going from Portland to St. Louis exactly this way, because you don't know. Mm-hmm. You know generally which way you're going to go, but the exact way you go, the exact speed you go, the exact places you turn off, you don't necessarily know until you get to those places.
Mm-hmm. That's a good analogy.
Yeah. So when you think about that in terms of, stuff in our day-to-day lives, even, we talked about it a lot in terms of hobbies of, make a choice up front about what success is. Is that the amount of time you do it? Is it, a certain, like, I don't know how you go about learning hand lettering. Are you, practicing in particular styles? Are you, working through a book? Are you, but like set yourself up so that the effort, the trying is the success.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's absolutely how I operate. Rewarding effort, not outcome. But the flip is, I focus on that, but the flip side is true as well. Predefining what failure is, and if failure is simply not trying or not showing up, as in yoga, then that's good to know in advance, rather than failure, as you said, failure being able to do a perfect, sun salutation or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Or winning. Are there yoga competitions? Winning a yoga competition. There aren't yoga competitions, are there?
I hope not, but I'm guessing there probably are.
Right.
Yeah. But so, just thinking back about the whole idea of permission to fail is you're giving yourself permission to fail as many times as you need to get where you want to go. Mm-hmm. That's another way to think about it.
Yeah. I would think this, if I were somebody who was afraid of failure, if I were a perfectionist for whom this was a big issue, I think these words would feel very liberating. I feel liberated by them, and I don't even wrapped up in it.
I do too. I'm thinking, like, why the hell do I get stuck with this kind of thing? Mm-hmm. I know this. Well, yeah. Which is, just to say that it's not easy to, just to be like, oh, okay, I learned this thing and now I'm going to act like that. That too is a process. And that too is a way that you can practice this way of thinking, of allowing yourself the permission to keep trying regardless of how it turns out.
Mm-hmm. That's excellent. And we gave ourselves permission to make this a shorter episode if we wanted to.
We did.
As we do every episode.
Right. I love it. You always say that, like, right before we stop recording or start recording. And it always makes me laugh.
Yeah, that's why I do it. But really, truly, I mean, I kind of feel like we covered it.
Yeah.
Do you?
I was sort of like running through things in my mind a little bit about this whole idea. And I guess it really does boil down to thinking about things as a practice, and that, failure, depending on how you define it, is inevitable. And it's an opportunity for you to learn and try something a different way. It's also, it's also okay to decide to stop. Hey, this isn't working out the way I want to.
Right.
So I'm going to choose to not do this anymore.
Yeah, that's success. If you can step away from something that's not working out.
Right. So
make you that choice. But that's very different from quitting something that you're failing at, right?
Right. Right.
Interesting distinction.
Like if you're feeling bad because you're not doing it at the level that you want to be doing it, it's very different than, hey, I've tried this and it turns out that it's just not my thing.
Right.
That's very different. And, and it's like at the, when I was on the mountain, like I had total 100% permission with myself to turn around at any moment. And I would still have felt good about what I did.
And I venture to say you'd have felt good about turning around if you judged that you made the judgment that you needed to for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I felt that I energy or stamina wise wasn't feeling how I wanted to feel, or conditions changed, or, it just wasn't fun anymore. Mm-hmm. Well, and fun's relative when you're doing something like that, but if I just wasn't into it,
then it would have been okay, and it would have been a sign of strength to turn around.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I'm trying to think of other examples of where giving yourself permission to make a different choice. And I guess that's what it is you're choosing, as opposed to feeling like I'm trying to get in touch with the feelings of like, oh, I don't want to do this because I'm no good at it. Versus, I'm not getting what I want out of this, and I've been trying for a while, so I'm just going to try something else.
Mm-hmm. Or you can also stop doing something just because you're tired of doing it, even though you were a success at it. And the people who change careers or stop doing certain activities,
right?
You can choose to walk away, and it's still a success.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's what the keys are, is choosing, having it be a practice, that the success is in the trying, and giving yourself permission for it not to turn out the way you want it to.
Mm-hmm. Right. that definition, that just giving thought to what the definition of failure is for you, I would think would take a lot of the power out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if failure ends up being not showing up, then it's so much easier to succeed.
Right.
Well, and that makes me think of, I had a client, I've had many clients who I've done a similar sort of thing with, but this one client comes to mind in particular who wanted to walk every day before work. And, as people often do when they decide something like that, she's like, I want to walk every day for an hour before work. And that often sets you up for failure. It's going to be hard to meet that. But what we did was we helped her set herself up for success by getting her walking clothes out and ready the night before. And all she had to do was get up out of bed, put those on, and stand on the front porch.
And that met her definition of success that day.
That
counted.
Yep, that counted. That meant success, and then she could do whatever she wanted. And it creates a little momentum so that if you take the time to get dressed and stand on the porch, you might just walk down to the end of the block and back. And then next thing you know, she had a regular walking habit. But it started by redefining what success was. And failure was just not putting on her stuff that she had already set out.
In a situation like that, she could have missed a day, chosen not to put on her clothes, and maybe she would have failed that day, but she wouldn't be a failure at her habit.
Right. Well, and it's the thing that failed. It's not about her as a person. But the other thing is, if you make that first step, that whatever it is you have to do for it to count so small, like she could still, even if she was running late or had something going on or whatever, she could purposefully make a choice in advance, as opposed to I don't feel like it today. That brand of making a quote unquote choice. But the I don't feel like it can get taken care of with I just have to get on the front porch. Just put on my shoes and get on the front porch, versus the you have to do the whole hour. And then, if she knew that she was going to have something that was going to make it difficult, then she would purposefully in advance sort of moderate what success would mean for just that next day. But I think that sort of that planning and making an agreement with yourself to do something that's doable makes it so much easier.
It's excellent.
Yeah. Well, anything else to say about permission to fail?
No, I don't think so. I've enjoyed learning more about it.
I know, it's a foreign topic for you, isn't it?
I think it might. I didn't realize it, but I guess so. Yeah.
It's always so interesting to learn to learn how different our thinking is, when I always think of us as being so simpatico.
We are simpatico, but we're different from each other.
I guess that's
right?
true.
I mean, we get along well, but yeah, I know. So yeah, we're such good friends. I figure you think like I do, but nope.
Right. Yeah. What's going on under the hood is different.
That's right.
All right. Well, So we would love to hear from you. How do you feel about failure? How do you feel about success? Do you give yourself permission or not? You can leave us a voicemail at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. You can head over to our website at gettingtogoodenough.com and leave us a comment on the show notes, or you can click on any of the links to our social media and head over to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. But for now, thank you for listening. And this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. I forgot to watch the time.
You did just fine.